Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hivemind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. We follow most popular political topics and trends, and one of those stories is the story of Bidenomics, Joe's flagship coined term. I mean, when you think about Biden, when you think about his presidency, you think about Bidenomics. That's his legacy, right? Well, I'm not exactly sure that that's a winning strategy. That's the case that we've been making. In today's video, let's continue to make it. Joe Biden's victory lap on the economy is obviously unwarranted. We're gonna get into the news, of course, but this video is brought to you guys by a sponsor, so let's play that clip. This video is brought to you guys by American Hartford Gold. The powers that be are trying to convince you that we're in an economic recovery, everything's fine. Meanwhile, over the last 2 years, it seems like the cost of living has nearly doubled. This fiat currency scam continues to hurt you in this age of money printing where money isn't even real. Bank runs are happening, banks are failing, and to make matters even worse, the Russian government just confirmed a new BRICS gold-backed currency, signaling a possible end to the petrodollar, which is backed by fake fiat US dollars. The world is complicated, economics is complicated, and it seems like no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work, your purchasing power just continues to become weaker. Well, there's a clear answer in tough economic times. The answer is to divert a portion of your portfolio in stable, tangible assets like precious metals, gold, and silver. And American Hartford Gold is the best in the business. One phone call and they'll deliver physical gold and silver straight to your doorstep, or they'll deliver it directly into your IRA or 401k. They're the best and only option in the business, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and decades of experience in the business. Not to mention they're running an amazing promotion where you can receive up to $5,000 of free silver on qualifying orders. What are you waiting for? They're one call away. Simply call 844-440-1005 or text Hivemind, one word, Hivemind, to 65532. Get them on the line, friends. Support the companies that support us in the work that we do. Now back to the video. All right, folks, so let's delve into Bidenomics. Joe Biden keeps touting his incredible success on the issue. He is the greatest economic president ever. Just the other day, he was celebrating on Twitter. He made a claim where he said, "We're living through one of the greatest job creation periods in American history. Folks, this just didn't happen. Together, we made it happen." I'm gonna issue a little bit of a correction to this tweet. Joe Biden says, "Folks, this just didn't happen." No, Joe, this didn't happen. It actually just didn't happen.
You are fake news.
This guy is such a freaking clown. Nearly 2024 and he's still writing fake COVID job recoveries as job creation. Absolute loser. Then you got another clown in his administration claiming that wages are up.
You have PCE and CPI. So we now have 2 inflation reports in a row where year over year the headline inflation number has gone up. You couple that with real average hourly wages are actually down since the day President Biden took office, about 3%. So is that Bidenomics?
Yeah, no, I think we have a disagreement on a fact there. So, and we can certainly show you CEA's data on this. Real wages are up.
And he's even going as far as claiming that we have a disagreement on the facts. Real wages are up. Well, there's no disagreement, and there's no opinion. There's no your facts and then other facts. No, there's just the facts. You know, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and real wages are obviously down. In fact, wages are so down that even those on the hard left in the mainstream media, even those guys, when they're trying to write a positive headline, they'll title it, "Wage Growth Returns with Cooling Inflation." This was written on April 12th, 2023. They're trying to present this scenario where wage growth is returning, but if you actually read the article, compared to March 2022, real average hourly earnings are still down by 0.7%. But that's an improvement from the 1.3% dip from February, year over year. So even Joe Biden's fluff piece partisan media, let's call them goons, even they are stuck admitting that wages are down. But according to Biden administration officials, we're all dumb, and somehow based on the real facts, on their facts, wages are up. These absolute frickin' lunatics. And speaking of media goons carrying water for the DNC, Bidenomics is so trash that even John Carl at ABC is stuck in the end basically admitting the truth.
For Democrats this week, a new CNN poll landed with a thud. President Biden's approval rating slipping below 40%. And despite all that talk about Bidenomics, a majority saying Biden's policies have made the economic conditions worse. And then there's this. 2/3 of Democratic-aligned voters say the party should nominate someone else, someone besides Biden, in 2024. This is just the latest indication that a majority of Democrats are looking for an alternative that just doesn't seem to be there. Democratic leaders point to real signs that Biden's policies are working. Inflation is down, unemployment remains historically low, economic growth is strong. But if the news is good, there's no indication that voters are feeling it.
Oh, that's a big yikes from me. Joe Biden's main campaign win, what he's literally spending $12.5 million on right now in an ad blitz, celebrating his economic track record. Well, his real economic track record is so trash that even the mainstream media simply can't do his messaging bidding on the topic because the numbers are just not there. Mainstream media talking heads can't run around saying Joe Biden's created X amount of jobs because he hasn't. They can't run around saying we got a victory on real wages because obviously wages are going down. They can't say that, oh, the Inflation Reduction Act, Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act is working. Inflation is down because, well, inflation is ticking back up.
Yes, the main event, the Consumer Price Index for the month of August. Headline expected up an aggressive 0.6, and the economist and analyst delivered up 0.6. Up 0.6. The last time we had up 0.6 on a month over month was going way back. You have to go all the way back to February of 2022 to find a bigger number when it was up 0.7. Actually, in March, it was up as well.
Now, to be fully transparent here, CPI is up, but core inflation is actually down, which is a good thing, although it's still above 4%, so it's not exactly something that Joe Biden should be pretending is a win for him, and especially not after 12 months of brutal inflation numbers. The reality is inflation isn't a win for sleepy, creepy, piss-pants Joe, because overall inflation is ticking back up, and inflation in general seems sticky. It's not going anywhere, at least not in the super short term. There's still life to this inflation issue. And actually, funnily enough, as I'm being as fair as possible here, mentioning the core CPI thing, Joe Biden just tweeted this. I mean, literally just popped up on my feed as I'm recording this video. Core inflation has fallen 2.4% over the last 3 months, the lowest level in over 2 years. And this tweet right over here shows just how duplicitous and dishonest President Biden has been on the issue of economics and the way he presents economic data. He's not saying that core CPI is 4%. He's saying it's fallen by 2.4%. Oh, big number, it's down big time, even though it's still pretty high. That's dishonest political messaging tactic number one. And number two, he has never mentioned core inflation. I'm not going to say that definitively that he's never mentioned it, but I've never seen him mention it. He certainly hardly mentions it. Over the last, let's call it 8 months, since he's been taking a victory lap on inflation, it's been roughly like 8 months, let's say, he has never once pointed to core inflation. He has always pointed at overall inflation because core inflation has been pretty bad and pretty consistently bad for the last, let's call it 12 months. But now, all of a sudden, that core inflation is actually down significantly, but total inflation is up. Now Joe Biden's taking credit over core inflation. This guy is the biggest snake. It's not him, though, obviously, because he's not tweeting that stuff. You know, the puppet masters behind this guy are the most dishonest political rats you could possibly imagine. And boy, oh boy, I hope it backfires. I mean, it's gotta backfire, right? The elitism. I mean, the current economic state of the country is so bad for the average person. You know, standing up on your ivory Washington tower, looking down at the peasants and patting yourself on the back and celebrating the current economy can't possibly be a winning message, right? You're not poor, you just feel poor. Things are the greatest, things are the best, in fact, ever. You know, building on top of Joe Biden's, we're living through the greatest job creation period in American history. You know, it's bad enough that they're celebrating while people are suffering. It's even worse that they're misrepresenting the truth and presenting manipulated and cherry-picked data. If this political strategy doesn't backfire in spectacular fashion, then the country is done. That is my honest belief. I don't usually say stuff like that, but if Joe Biden is elected for a second term after his disastrous first, there's obviously something deeply wrong. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.